What's up, Pod Squad? This is Reddapod here, coach of the Hudson Hydreigons, coming to you with more Side Quest League Doubles Draft League action this week. We are taking on the College Station Good Bulls, and hopefully trying to get our first win of the season. We lost in 3 games last week. We're going up against a really good team. Mario and the College Station Good Bull, they won last week. They have the Rillaboom, they have the Porygon too. It's straight up a VGC team that we're going up against. So this will be a bit of a challenge, but we have some good strategies to win the terrain war, and our Trick Room users should underspeed his, so we'll see how that works out. And we see he brings Rillaboom, Porygon, Dragalge. We see Sandcastle mode, we see the Palisand and the Excelgor, and then we see Comfy. So going up against that, I have an interesting Indeedee build this week to counter the Rillaboom Grassy Surge. So we're going to try that out as our lead, and we'll have Rotom out there for additional offensive pressure against what I'm expecting will be a Rillaboom lead in Game 1. So we'll see how that goes, and we bring our 2 Trick Room users and abusers in the back. So this Indeedee build is very interesting. So typically Indeedee would outspeed Rillaboom. It would set up its Psychic Terrain first, and then Rillaboom would get the Grassy Terrain off, which is not where you want to be. So what we did was we actually have I believe Quiet is the nature, the one that reduces speed and increases special attack. We have a Quiet-natured Indeedee. So if the Rillaboom has no speed investment in terms of EVs, we should still outspeed by 2 points, or underspeed rather. We should underspeed by 2 points, which means our terrain will go up second, which makes Rillaboom a little less effective. So hopefully there's no speed investment in this, or hopefully there is some type of speed investment in this Rillaboom, or at least there's not a speed harming nature, and we should underspeed it. And we will see Cars and Speedwagon, a little JoJo's Bizarre Adventure themed team. We'll see Rillaboom and Porygon, which I expected to see. We're also running Imprison and Trick Room on the Indeedee Mail, so we have the option to do that, but we probably won't do that this match because our Trick Room users will underspeed his, so it's actually beneficial to us if Trick Room goes up. So we do see the Grassy Surge come out first, followed by the Psychic Surge, which is awesome for us. We're able to take full advantage of our planning and win the terrain war, or at least the terrain battle on this first turn. So now that Rillaboom doesn't have priority here, Rotom will outspeed it. That is a big threat to that Rillaboom. So we'll let off an Expanding Force just for some damage, and we'll go with Overheat into the Rillaboom slot. I'm expecting a switch out, but we'll see if that actually happens. And no matter what comes in, it should take a decent chunk of damage to the Overheat. I mean, that's nothing to mess around with. And our Rotom is running White Herb this week, so it's actually not too detrimental to us if we do get damage off, because once that special attack drop happens, we'll just get right back to base. So we see the Palisand come in, beautiful shiny, and the Overheat will go into the Palisand and do a large chunk of damage. So with the Expanding Force coming, I mean, that looks good for us right now. And we outspeed both of those mons. Not that Palisand would get to attack anyway. And we see the Expanding Force take down the Palisand. So that is one less mon we have to worry about. Tri-Attack comes out into our Indeedee. Does roughly, I would say, about 30%. So nothing too dangerous there right now. So we'll see what Mario sends out here. And we see the Comfey come out. Which for me, I always think it's Grass Fairy, but I'm pretty sure it's just Fairy type. That one confuses me. And we know he has the Rillaboom still in the back. That's probably going to come in to reset terrain at some point. So we're going to switch our Indeedee out into Snorlax, so we have the option of bringing Indeedee back in to overwrite terrain if we need to. And we're going to go with a Volt Switch into the Comfey as well, so we can go into our Trick Room setter, the Dusknoir. Alright, so we will switch. Keep our Rotom safe at full health, so we can use it to deal with the Rillaboom later on if we need to. And Dusknoir reveals its leftovers on the Comfey, and Eviolite on the Porygon 2, which is very standard. Not a lot of information that's helpful from Frisk there. And Jalokia, our Dusknoir, just not taking any damage. Good switch in there. And what's really nice is Snorlax has access to Steel Roller. It synergizes nicely with the Indeedee Psychic Terrain, and it's a good counter for the Rillaboom as well. It's just a really powerful move, but it only hits if there is terrain up. But we'll take full advantage of that Psychic Terrain and try and get that Comfey off the board. And this Dusknoir is running Brick Break just to have access to Max Knuckle so we can boost our attack. This thing hits hard, but it can hit even harder. And super effective Max Knuckle into Porygon 2 seems like the right play here. Especially considering that Comfey may fall to the Steel Roller. And we are protected against priority moves because of the Psychic Terrain. We see Porygon 2 go with a Recover here. And you'll notice we didn't set up Trick Room on that last turn. I felt like we had good momentum, and I just wanted to keep that going rather than only having one Mon attack. So we'll get the attack boost on both of our Pokemon. It's beneficial for both of them. These two work really nicely together. And the Steel Roller will come out into the Comfey and take it down. So now we are down to the Porygon 2 and the Rillaboom. And the I love that, the weirdness disappeared from the battlefield. So we still have all of our Mons, so this is looking good for us. But I mean, Rillaboom is a huge threat, and Porygon 2 is incredibly bulky. So this isn't something to get overconfident about. But thankfully we do have Indeedee in the back for terrain purposes. And we're going to switch into the Indeedee just so we can overwrite that terrain. And we have the attack boosted on the Dusknoir, so although the Porygon 2 is at high HP, hoping that another Max Knuckle will do a little bit more damage. So there goes Rillaboom's Grassy Terrain, which, I mean, that's so helpful. That really, like, that's a good Mon to begin with. The Grassy Terrain makes it incredibly scary. And Rillaboom, you know, still has its Dynamax. It's still threatening Mon even outside of Grassy Terrain. So here we see that, looking like Neil Peart. And both of their Mons are pretty bulky, so it's not going to be easy to get through these two. And we see the Rillaboom has a fighting move. It has Max Knuckle. Thankfully, Indeedee resists that and is able to hang on. But that attack boost may come back to bite us on the Rillaboom. And we have our own Max Knuckle. We're going into the Porygon 2. It used Protect, so it's going to soak up a ton of that damage just through that. But we get another attack boost, so Dusknoir can hit very hard. And here, it's kind of hard to choose a move. The Rillaboom outspeeds us, and I'm thinking, okay, if I live, I can set up Trick Room for my Dusknoir and my Snorlax without having to waste the Trick Room turn on the Dusknoir, and we go for Expanding Force instead, just to get off some damage. And we'll go with Max Knuckle again into the Porygon 2. We see the Rillaboom use Max Darkness there. I'm assuming that move is probably Knockoff in its base form, and thanks to the Culver Berry, we're able to soak up a lot of that damage. And the special defense drop, I don't think that's too critical considering that Rillaboom is a physical attacker. And the Expanding Force will do a little bit of damage, but Indeedee will fall to the Porygon 2. So, really good Dynamax turns for my opponent. Able to get through that Indeedee. But the Porygon 2 goes down, and Dusknoir is still here. And we still have two other Mons. Still alive, two other Mons. So we'll bring in Snorlax. We just kind of want to get through the Rillaboom as much as we can before the Rotom comes in. Just kind of using these two as shields in a way, just to keep that Rotom as safe as possible, especially while there's still another Dynamax turn for this Rillaboom. So I'm assuming that the Rillaboom is going to target the Dusknoir with a Max Darkness again, so I go for Curse, and I try to target the Rillaboom with Dusknoir, but it's no use. Max Darkness does come out. It kills our Dusknoir, so that was at least a good guess in terms of who our opponent was going after. And Snorlax will get that curse off. So we're boosting our attack and our defense. I know there was an attack boost on our opponent's side from a Max Knuckle, so this should offset a little bit of it. And because we are outsped, the speed drop doesn't really matter on the Snorlax. So we're able to bring in our Rotom now, thankfully, at the end of Rillaboom's Dynamax turns. And hopefully, we're able to get through it. But we'll go with Steel Roller just for some big non-recoil damage, and we will go for Overheat. So hopefully Overheat does not miss here. That is a very real possibility. So it connects, and Rillaboom will fall to the Overheat. So that is game one. The Indeedee Psychic Terrain was super helpful. That Rillaboom did not have any attacks on grassy terrain that whole game, so I think we managed that very scary tactic quite well. But this league is best 2 of 3, so there's potentially 2 more battles ahead of us. Hopefully it's only 1. And I think our opponent sees that we can maintain terrain control pretty well, so I don't think they will be as aggressive with the Rillaboom. So I'm actually thinking I'm going to leave it behind, leave the Indeedee behind in this next match. So for the lead, we will actually go with a lead that I've play tested with and I have had success with. We think about going with the Amoonguss Dusknoir lead to get some Rage Powder Trick Room action, but I actually had success with Rotom and Dusknoir together. So that will be our lead for this match, is the 2 of them. And we will bring Snorlax, and just because it is a strong user of Trick Room, or abuser of Trick Room rather, and we will bring the Amoongus. This will be the first battle that Amoongus participates in this season, and I'm running Akaberry on it. I was expecting to encounter the Alolan Marowak potentially, so I wanted to be able to eat some fire damage there, but that is not the case this week. But we'll bring the Amoongus anyway, just because if the Rillaboom does come out, we should be able to soak up some Grassy Glides with it. So we see the Excelgor Dragalge lead here, which I did not anticipate, but it should be okay for us. I don't think either of those Mons are taking out our Dusknoir. So one option that we have here, although the Overheat is tempting, there is a better play. But we will come back to that. We're trying to think about how best to counter the speed of the Excelgor here, because it has access to Water Shuriken, and I'm not sure if that kills the Rotom, but I decide that Volt Switch is better because we can bring the Snorlax in without wasting the turn on the switch, and then we will set up Trick Room so that Snorlax is able to take advantage immediately upon coming into the match. We see Acid Spray from the Excelgor, which is unfortunate because it will get the special defense drop here, but our White Herb will correct that. But now we don't have the White Herb for Overheat, which is frustrating. Thankfully we go for Volt Switch, safely get out of there, keep the Rotom at 100% health, and we bring the Snorlax in. And Dragalge is a special attacker, so whatever comes, the Snorlax should be able to soak up pretty nicely. And we see a Sludge Wave, which does a ton of damage, especially with Dragalge's adaptability, doing 2 times damage on stab moves rather than just 1.5. But both of our Mons eat that with little damage, and we do get the Trick Room up. So both of my Pokemon on the field right now underspeed the Dragalge, so they will move first in Trick Room. And we'll see what Mario brought alongside this Dragalge. And we'll see the Comfey again. And I'm expecting the Dragalge to Dynamax here. So I want to counter with my own Gigantamax, just so nothing's getting rolled from a Max Ooze, which will be boosting its own special attack. So I'm going to go for the Gigantamax here on the Snorlax and try and one-shot the Comfey with with the Max Steel Spike. Unfortunately, it raises our physical defense rather than our special defense. The special defense boost would have been awesome to offset any potential Max Ooze we see, but we'll take taking down one of our opponent's Mons. And we use Poltergeist on the Dusknoir into the Dragalge just for some damage. And we will see the Dragalge Dynamax here, so very happy that I Dynamax, so I'm not just getting absolutely bodied by a 2 times powered Poison or Dragon. Either one of those is going to do some solid damage. The priority move comes out, Draining Kiss, but it's not able to do enough to Snorlax, and Snorlax will let off the Max Steel Spike into the Comfey. And a crit to boot. So we see the defense raise, not particularly helpful, but if the Rillaboom is in the back, I mean, that may help us down the stretch. And we'll find out soon what that last Pokemon is, our opponent being down to 2 Pokemon. So the Poltergeist will do a little bit of damage, not as much as I would have liked, and we will see the Max Ooze going for that special attack boost, going for that 2 times stab powered move. But thankfully we have the Figgy Berry. We're gonna get some of that health back. So in the face of this now boosted Dragalge, maybe we can take a little more damage. And it is the Rillaboom in the back, so that defense boost may prove helpful. And we don't have the Indeedee this time, so I mean, this Rillaboom is going to be able to make full use of the grassy terrain this match. And that grassy seed helps a lot, because both of my Mons on the field right now are physical attackers. So, I mean, that's a nice synergy there. And we go with the G-Max Replenish into the Snorlax, or not the Snorlax, wow, into the Rillaboom. Hopefully getting our Figgy Berry back. That would be really helpful because I think we're going to need it to deal with the Dragalge. And we see the Grassy Glide go into the Dusknoir for a lot of damage. But G-Max Replenish does close to 50%, and we get our Figgy Berry back. So this will help us a ton if we're able to survive another hit. And Poltergeist doing more damage, slowly whittling down the Dragalge. And we see the Max Ooze go into the Snorlax, bringing it down to about, I think it was 20-25%. And thankfully we have that that Figgy Berry, so we can get more health back, which, I mean, that's going to be crucial considering how buffed this Dragalge is. And our we still have one more turn of Dynamax, so that thing is still a huge threat. Alright, so here the Rillaboom is a threat, because I have low physical defense on the Snorlax, and the Dragalge is a threat because it's just so buffed at this point, that I'm just going to max guard and hope they both target the Snorlax, and we pick Poltergeist into Rillaboom. But one thing I forgot when I did that is that Poltergeist attacks the user or the target with its held item, and we saw the Grassy Seed activate for the Rillaboom, so Poltergeist will fail no matter what. We do live the Grassy Glide, and Poltergeist fails because there's nothing to hit it with. Thankfully, the Dragalge targeted the Snorlax, and we're able to protect ourselves. Everyone heals up a little bit from the grassy terrain, and that will be the end of the Dynamax turns for this match. That Max Guard proved very helpful in dealing with that Dragalge. I don't think we would have lived another attack from it, so very thankful that I was able to do that. We still have Trick Room up, I believe, so I go for Steel Roller because unless the Rillaboom targets the Snorlax with Grassy Glide, we should be able to destroy the terrain and take away that priority. And it does target the Snorlax. I thought it would kill, but Snorlax lives. We get the Steel Roller into the Dragalge, removing a huge threat that's still on the field, removing the grassy terrain. So now it's a little bit of an easier fight against the Rillaboom. So we'll go with Rock Slide, which I picked in order to maybe flinch it if it didn't pick priority Grassy Glide, but I mean, if the terrain's up, why not? So now we've learned our lesson. We know we can't hit it with Poltergeist, so we're just going to pick our 100% effective move. It's the same power as Rock Slide, so we'll just go with Brick Break there. And hopefully, hopefully we're able to slowly whittle down this Rillaboom. And the Rillaboom has Acrobatics, which very nice with the Grassy Seed being consumed, and it having a flying move is quite scary, especially considering I have a non-Koba Berry Amoonguss in the back. So that's very dangerous, I think. And I don't want to take any chances here, so I just bring in the Rotom. Trick Room is over, so I will outspeed now that the grassy terrain is gone. So we'll click Overheat, cross our fingers that it doesn't miss, and we will Go with the Brick Break again, just for more damage in case it does come down to the Amoonguss and the Dusknoir versus the Rillaboom. If the Rillaboom somehow is able to take out our Rotom after a miss. But we are able to land the Overheat. Down goes Rillaboom, and that is our first win of the Side Quest League Season 2. We are now 1-1. Good games to my opponent. That team is very scary. I think having a terrain setter was huge for our team, and Steel Roller, because without the ability to overwrite or remove that terrain, Rillaboom can kind of run wild. So I'm very fortunate that we were able to get those pieces in place, bring us to victory, and yeah, for more content, check out my other videos, and I will see you next time.